I'm here today to join with you in saying, give me back my press freedom. And I'm only sorry that I don't yet know how to say that in Cantonese, but I will learn. But before I continue, what I can say in Cantonese and what we should all say together is Guang Phuc Hong Kong, Si Doi Gak Ming. I am here today with you not only as the co-founder of Hong Kong Watch, not only because I care deeply about what has happened to Hong Kong as a whole, but because amidst the dismantling of freedom itself in Hong Kong, the death of press freedom in Hong Kong is closest to my heart, because I was once a journalist in Hong Kong. I began my working life straight out of university as a journalist in Hong Kong for the first 5 years after the handover from 1997 to 2002. And I remember my time in Hong Kong as a journalist. The press was free by and large. Not perfect, but basically free. Hong Kong was a free and open city with a vibrant, a bold, a courageous, a creative, a noisy press. A press that asked questions of anyone without fear or favor, carried out investigations, ran stories that didn't always please those in government, but they were able to do it. I remember I myself wrote several opinion pieces about the Hong Kong government. I wrote several pieces about Regina Ip. And from her tweet yesterday, it seems she doesn't like me very much. That's okay, I don't like her very much either. But the point is, at that time, and for many years until very recently, the press had that freedom. For the last 6 months, press freedom has been killed in Hong Kong. It started with the killing of Apple Daily, of course, and many of us said at that time this is the death knell for press freedom. But just before Christmas, the closure, the forced closure and the arrests of journalists from Stand News, and then the decision by Citizen News to close, represents, if Apple Daily represented the death knell of press freedom, I'm sorry to say that the closure of Stand News and Citizen News is probably the burial of press freedom in Hong Kong. And of course, we've seen what's happened to RTHK as well, and many other media outlets. But we must not allow press freedom in Hong Kong to be killed and buried without us making the loudest possible noise around the world. Press freedom is integral to any open society, any society that has any form of freedom, any society that has any form of the rule of law. And once press freedom is buried, there is no transparency, no accountability. And it makes our job here even harder, because for the last year or so, under the national security law, I have not been able, and I'm sure the same is true of many of us, not been able to contact the people in Hong Kong that I used to talk to. Most of them are in prison, some of them are in exile, and those who aren't in prison I don't want to endanger. So I have relied on the media in Hong Kong for information, and once that is shut down, it puts Hong Kong into an ever-darkening black hole. So we must cry out, give me back my press freedom. We must call on the world, the international community, governments around the world, to speak out more strongly and to act, not just to act with statements, but to act with action, so that the Hong Kong government and the Chinese Communist Party know that if they do this, at least they will be met with consequences, with sanctions, with paying the price for what they have done. And so we will go on advocating for that. I want to let you know that Hong Kong Watch is planning in the coming weeks two things. Firstly, we will have a new campaign focus. We already have a campaign on political prisoners, but we will have a new campaign for journalists who are now political prisoners. And we will continue to campaign for the release of all those journalists and anybody who's worked in the media who is now in prison or on trial. And then secondly, we will be publishing before too long a new report on the dismantling of press freedom in Hong Kong, and that will come out soon. So I want to say to you, keep protesting, keep speaking out. We have a responsibility here now to protest and speak out even more because it is now impossible in Hong Kong itself. So keep protesting, keep speaking out. I will continue to be with you, as will all of my colleagues in Hong Kong Watch. And I just end by saying again, give me back my press freedom. Guang Phuc Hong Kong, Si Dai Gat Min. Guang Phuc Hong Kong. Guang Phuc Hong Kong.